What's up? It's time for another late night rant. And as you can see behind me, it is late night. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I want to talk to you about a little something that's a little bit more serious than usual. Domestic violence. As many of you may know, I'm a police officer in Colorado. And one of the things that irks me to all hell is domestic violence. I have to do a little side note here and say, men, if you have a woman, or even if you don't have a woman, there's really no reason for you to put your hands on a woman. And something else is, women, if you have a man and you put your hands on him, you should probably expect that he puts his hands back on you. And to me, that is really the only reason, and even then, only in certain circumstances, that a man should put his hands on a woman. Women, do not put your hands on a man and then look crazy or surprised if he defends himself, and in so doing puts his hands on you. You deserve that. Now, I'm not saying you deserve an ass whooping, but if you put your hands on him, he may put his hands back on you. Now, outside of that, men, you should not put your hands on a woman. So one of the things I want to talk about here is, in my job, I get many calls to the same house for domestic violence, and it's always the same thing. The woman calls the police because he's put his hands on her. I take him to jail. I go to court for it later on, and then she goes in there and recants her story. And then a few weeks, few months, maybe even a year later, I go back to the same house with the same couple for the same reason. Now, I don't understand the scientific reasons or the psychological reasons why some people stay in this cycle. It makes no sense to me. If you are in that situation, get your ass out of it. Quit wasting time, because I'm going to go to court and I get paid to do that. So you're not wasting my time, but you're wasting the courts and the taxpayers' time and money by pressing these false charges. I understand that sometimes if you grew up in a violent family, you tend to have violent families when you get older. But somebody has to take responsibility and change that. Stop it. I'll give you a quick story, and because it was so long ago and I don't remember the names, there's no chance of any court case being lost or changed because of it. And this is a story that was kind of the reverse. I get a call on a woman who says her boyfriend beat her up. When I get there, she's got no marks, no scratches, no bruises, no nothing. I start talking to her, and she's screaming about how her man beat her up and she wants him taken to jail. Now, this woman is probably about 5 foot, 115 pounds, real tiny, real petite. Now, her boyfriend is in the kitchen. So I say, excuse me, ma'am, let me go inside the kitchen and get his side of the story, because often there are two sides to the story. Actually, there's always two sides to the story. Sometimes they're the same, but oftentimes they're different. So I talk to him, and as I walk in the kitchen, I look at him. He's got a big old bandage on his head. He's got a bandage on his arm, and his shirt is open. He's got scratches and claw marks and bite marks all over. So his story was that he had gone out the night before, saw like an ex-girlfriend. They were dancing. He came home with her perfume on him. Now, whether he did anything with her or not, I don't know. But he said that all they did was dance, and he came home with the perfume on him. She smelled that and went off. She hit him in the head with an iron. She bit him. She scratched him. She did all kinds of things to him, and he didn't do anything to her. Now, this man was probably 6'4", over 250 pounds, very muscular, looked like he should have played football. And I looked at her with no marks on her at all, and I determined that she was lying. This man didn't do anything to her. So I listened to the rest of his story, and he said that she told him if he came back to, by the way, this was his house, she was staying with him. She told him that if he came back, she was going to call the police on him. Now, his sister was there. She corroborated his story. So I decided I wasn't going to take him to jail. I was going to take her to jail. And when I put the handcuffs on her, this girl started screaming bloody murder. You would have thought I shot her in the foot. But here's a case where a woman was upset and decided to call the police on this man. That's another part of this domestic violence cycle that pisses me off. Because women know, and men do too, but women know that they can call the police, and because the laws favor them in this case, They can have their man put in jail for any reason. This time it didn't work for her because I'm a little smarter than that. But most of the time, and what I really wanted to talk about was the cycle. You call the police because your man beat you up. Your man destroyed your property. Your man stalked you. Your man did all kinds of things, and that's all domestic violence. So you call me. I show up. I take him to jail. I go to court. You recant your story, and I'm back at your house in a few weeks. Why do you insist on staying in this situation? I'm tired of hearing an excuse. Well, he only does it because he loves me or because I messed up. Well, one, stop messing up if that's the truth. But I don't believe that. I believe there's something sick in your head that makes you stay. Excuse me, my cigar is going out and I got to puff on it every now and then. But something sick in your head that makes you stay, makes you think that you don't deserve anything better or makes you think that this man really does love you and that's the only reason why he hits you. You are a fool as far as I'm concerned. If you think that the only way a man can show you his love is by beating you, I hate to say it, but more power to you. Stop calling me. Stop calling the police because you want to stay there. I don't know what else to say about it. It pisses me off. I've had family members in this situation. I had an aunt who was always beat up. And she would stay with the same man. And my uncles would tell her, stop calling us. Stop calling the police. Stop calling anybody if you want to stay in this situation. She finally wised up and got out. But not before she was beaten almost to being ugly. I've been on so many calls where a woman has been beat down like a man. Like two men were in a fight and she lost. But she stays. I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry, but I don't get it. And it pisses me off. Fellas, anybody who watches this video, leave a comment. Educate me. Women, educate me. Explain to me why you think it's okay to stay in that situation. I don't care if you grew up and your daddy beat your mama or your mama beat your daddy. You're a grown person now. You can make choices for yourself. You can be responsible for yourself. So my only advice, or the only thing I want to really get out of this, or want you to get out of this, is if you're in that situation, you have to make a choice in your life and say, I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm tired of getting my ass kicked. And men, sometimes you got to you always have to take responsibility. And if you find yourself getting so angry that you got to beat your woman, maybe you should go see some help. Maybe you should go find you a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a friend, a preacher. I don't care who it is. Go talk to somebody. Go get yourself a punching bag if you want to hit something. Stop beating on your women. There are so many broken families right now where women are raising their kids by themselves. So many other problems. Kids are growing up on the streets because their parents have so many other problems. There's so many other things out there that people have to deal with, and you are just adding to it. And if alcohol is to blame, and damn it, check yourself into a AA class or group or whatever they're called, and get yourself some help. Because our society is just going to hell in a handbasket, and this is just one of the reasons. But this is one that is so easily stopped, so easily changed. If one of you or both of you stops the cycle. That's all I got to say. Actually, I had more to say, but as I said in the previous rant, I'm getting old and I forget shit. But I think I've said enough. Hopefully, somebody's watching this who's in that situation or knows somebody in that situation and will start to do something to make a change. All right. Y'all have a good night. See, my cigar's going out. I'll talk at you later.